Hey y'all, welcome back to Community College with Dr. G. I'm Dr. G. What are we talking about today? Today we're talking about control. 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 It's always a remix in my head. I'm sorry, that song been in my head since I started writing notes for this a couple of days ago, so I had to get it out. Okay. So, something that I've been seeing with my clients lately, recognizing at least, is the different ways that people maintain control over their lives. The different ways that being a control freak manifests. Okay? So, I want to talk a little bit about what it is to be a control freak. I definitely want to address how our ego plays into this need for control. I want to talk about the different ways that we control. So, like, if we do have this kind of controlling nature about us, how does that look in the real world? And you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. And then I'm going to talk about the limitations that being a control freak can create in your life. And then, of course, we're going to talk about, well, how do I surrender control? How do I let go? Because I'm not going to talk all this shit and not give you some tips and tricks and strategies, etc. to get through it, to make changes if you want to make change. So let's get into it. Control. Managing, micromanaging all of the parts, all of the moving parts of our lives. First of all, let me start by saying this. We are humans, we are social beings, and we are meant to be interdependent upon people. Our societies prioritize independence. Not all societies. Most societies prioritize a communal way of being and an interdependence between people. But American and European societies, which have dominated the world for a while, have influenced the way that we view this. And now a set of people, a race of people, including all color things, the human race, is meant to be interdependent upon one another, right? So when we try to control everything, we eliminate the gift that it is to be in collaboration with other people. And that in itself is a limitation to what we can produce, to what can happen, to what we can see and experience in the world. So let's start there. We are supposed to work with other people. And one of the top things that you see with a person who is a control freak is that they do not work well with others. They do not work well with others. And it's not because they don't really want to, but it's because there's this very deep urge that if I don't do it, it's not going to be done right. So I might as well just do it myself. I don't like the way other people are doing it, right? And it is influenced by, I hate to say it, but kind of like a very narrow perspective, in that my view of how this outcome is supposed to happen is the only possible process to get to the desired outcome. Although we've all agreed upon what the desired outcome is, and this person may see the world a little bit different from me and approach the problems that they are meant to solve differently, I prefer that that person with a different perspective, with a unique gift, and also who is probably better trained at doing what it is that I'm trying to do, I want them to do it exactly how I want it to be done. I don't care what their process is. I know that this will lead us to the outcome, and I don't want to see any other possible routes to this outcome. I want you to do it my way. And if you're not going to, I'm going to do it myself. This could be in the workplace. This could be in the household. This could be in your romantic relationships or your relationships with your children. Yes? The need to control. You're going on a vacation with, let's say, 7 or 8 other people. Could be family, could be friends, could be a business trip. You don't want anybody else contributing to the planning and execution of the trip. You'll take on that full responsibility. You don't mind because it's taking the load off of everybody else. But really, at the end of the day, it's because you want to be able to control everything that happens on that trip. You don't want to leave it up to anybody else to be able to influence the outcomes for you. And chances are you have aligned yourself with people that will sit back and just let you do all of the work because it got to be done your way anyway. And in the other group chat that you're not a part of, they talking about how you always got to be in control, but they're also sitting back and allowing you to control everything so they don't have to do it either. When I tell you that our ego is extremely talented at creating a place that feels safe for us, the problem is that we feel safe in unsafe situations sometimes. Our ego typically comes into play, creates a schema, creates a belief, creates a set of actions, creates an algorithm for us to follow based on an experience that was overwhelming emotionally or psychologically or even physically when we were too young or too immature to deal with it. And that very immature schema, that very immature protective response has now impacted and influenced how you make decisions as a grown-ass, mature person. Right? So why do we become control freaks, right? One, having the idea of being in control encourages a sense of safety, right? Because unpredictability, things being unpredictable or things happening outside of the way that you envisioned it, could lead to danger. That could be a dangerous situation for you to be in, right? So the idea of control influences or encourages us to feel safe, right? The idea of control offers mental stability. Like, our ego's biggest job is to make sure that we do not experience cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is when we have discomfort about what the things that we believe and the things that we're experiencing in our environment. We don't like that shit. The ego don't like that shit, and its job is to prevent that from happening. So we create a sense of mental stability when our ego comes in and creates points of control in order for us to avoid a situation that we had been in before. Whether it's realistic for us to be in that situation again or not, the ego is still very active. So let's go back to this idea of safety and also mental stability, because we look at it from like our basic needs, like physiological needs, right? You think about Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and this discussion of we have to get our basic physiological needs met, then safety needs after that, and then love needs, and then this, and then this, and then self-actualization. So if you think about it like that, yes, having stability and safety in our life is very important for us to be okay. But also, having safety and stability in the esteem that we hold of ourselves is even more important. Having that safety and stability in our own self-image is just as important as our physiological needs, if not more important, because of how our societies play on the fact that we are insecure human beings, right? So let's do an example of both. So if you grew up in an environment where one of your caregivers or both of your caregivers were very poor at regulating their emotions, you may have grown up in a space of unpredictable outbursts, physical, verbal, emotional, psychological abuse at the hands of somebody who was not mature enough to manage their own emotions, right? So unpredictability is something that is a trigger for you. When something is happening and it's not supposed to be that way, or if something could surprise you, or if you would be in a situation where you're unsure of how the experience may roll out, that's a lack of control, right? And if you grew up in an environment like that, you do not want to put yourself in situations where you will feel a lack of control in that way, that unpredictability, that instability, and sometimes related to your safety needs, right? Because if this person is abusive because they are unable to regulate their own emotions, then that puts you in danger, right? So that could eventually develop into an adult who is micromanages every little aspect of everything and is very, very tied to control. Right? On the other hand, let's say that you grew up in a very loving environment, right? There was a lot of people around you that encouraged you to do things, fed your belief in yourself, all of the things, right? And then at some point, maybe you wanted to play a sport, you wanted to play baseball, so you're practicing with your dad, and your dad and your mom are all so excited about everything, and you're so great. And then you go and you try out for the baseball team and you don't make it. And in fact, the other people are like laughing, like, why did you even think that this was for you? That blow to your self-image, right? Because your ideal self is a baseball player, but your actual self is not. Dissonance, cognitive dissonance. How do I reconcile the difference between who I see myself as and who I'm actually presenting myself as? And this is where the idea or the concept of self-efficacy comes in. Your ability or your belief in your abilities, your belief in your capabilities. And this, of course, is tied into mindset. So if I have high self-efficacy, if I have a healthy dose of self-efficacy, I know that I am capable of doing more than what I'm capable of doing in this moment, right? In this moment, I tried out for baseball and I did terribly and I didn't make the team. Ego will be like, well, damn, you ain't a baseball player, so nah, right? But a healthier way to deal with that, a way to circumvent the ego or to now repair the ego, because maybe you're an adult at this point, to repair the ego is to recognize that maybe you're not good at it today, but it's always possible to be better. That's the whole concept behind the growth mindset, is that it's always possible to be better. So if you continue to practice, if you persistently put forth effort towards making your goal, you can grow, right? That is a healthy dose of self-efficacy. An unhealthy dose of self-efficacy says, damn, I ain't good at that, so that's just not for me. Quit. That's a fixed mindset. That doesn't allow growth, right? If we are in a space and time where evolution is happening right before our eyes, we cannot have a fixed mindset. We have to be open to change. We have to be open to a new perspective. We have to be open to the infinite possibilities of the world right now, because shit is not working the way that they told us it was gonna work. It hasn't been for a while, y'all. So holding on to control is literally preventing your evolution. It's literally preventing your evolution. It's not healthy. You have to surrender. Let's talk about why. Okay, we talked about the role of ego. 3 ways we control. So how do we control? So I mentioned a couple of things. 1, the types of relationships that we get into. So if we are a person that likes to control everything, if we need to have micromanage ability for the tasks in our life, where we live, what we eat, what the kids wear, how we dress, the car we drive, the this, the that, the this, the that, the colors, the print on your socks. If you are a person that feels best, right, when you are able to control all of the little details, so there's no space for unpredictability, there's no space for failure. I lost my train. Ways we control. You will more than likely choose or attract people that are extremely nonchalant about everything. Oh yeah, we could do that. Oh yeah, I don't care what we eat. Yeah, we could live here. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, we could do this. So your need to be on top of everything is going to be balanced by somebody who don't really feel the need to be on top of nothing for real. And while it may work because it allows you to maintain the control that you seek, it most likely doesn't work because, as a person who is conscientious and thorough and ambitious, having a slacker or a non-conscientious, non-controlling, nonchalant person in your life can be irritating because they're not matching your energy. But they are, though. They're balancing it. Ways we control. We create relationships with people that we know we can manipulate. We use money. We use money. We use money as a way to manipulate other people and to manipulate ourselves. Let's talk about why we use money, how we use money to manipulate ourselves. Because money prevents instability. Money allows for a level of preparedness for unpredictability that not having money doesn't. Money provides a certain level of comfort that not having money doesn't provide. And that comfort is in control. Even if a situation pops up that was unexpected, I have enough money to throw at it to fix it so it's not going to upset my mood, right? We control in ways that allow us to maintain a sense of safety. And chances are that sense of safety is built on and founded in a situation that was terrible, but not the norm, right? Not based on positive outlooks or expectations or perspectives for life, right? So this need for control is preventing you, again, preventing you from being able to fully enjoy your relationships, fully get to know the people around you. Because if you are in constant control and you are using manipulation tactics, particularly money or something else, you're not really actually interested in that person as a whole. You are solely interested in the parts of that person that you can manipulate. That includes yourself. Parenting, ways we control. There's multiple ways to control in parenting. It never has a great outcome. Not only social and emotional well-being, psychological, sometimes physical well-being of your child. So ways we control. I'm talking about money here. We manipulate our children. We know that you need money to survive. Our kids know that too because of the way we present that concept to them. Come over here and give me a kiss. Come over here. Don't tell your grandmother. Don't tell your, here, take this $10. I ain't gonna buy you them shoes if you don't do this, if I ain't gonna do it. No, I'm the one with the money. You get these school shoes. No. If you don't do it, you're not gonna go to Six Flags. If you don't, then you not gonna get this. If you don't, like, the way we don't even realize it, right? And this one is gonna go a little deep. So we manipulate ourselves through money. So that's how we manipulate our children, through money. And that creates a whole bunch of blockages towards abundance, because then you train your children that they don't deserve the basic shit that they get and need in life, and that somehow they have to earn the abundance that is their divine birthright. It fucks us up. Talking from experience here. Control. That all stems from a need for control. It all stems from a need for control. Money, right? We also use money to convince ourselves that we're okay, because money means that you're successful. The acquisition of nice things that other people can see and then evaluate you as a person who is successful, because clearly you have money, because you have these things. That external validation, because you think it's internal, but it's not, because you're spending all of that money. You're compensating for something that you're not receiving internally. So then you're relying on external validation of the envy or the admiration of other people because of the money that you have to tell you that you're okay, but you're not. That's why there's no number of Louis bags, Gucci shoes, or Chanel brooches that will ever make you feel the way that you're expecting to feel from this manipulation of buying things that you're doing to yourself. Control. I want to get a little bit deeper into the ways that we control, why we do it, and the limitations. I know I've been kind of all over the place, but it all ties in. I try to organize it to help y'all, but also to help me, because this little ADHD squirrel brain ain't it. It is it though. It is. Let me not even say that. Let me fake. Just requires. Anyway. Okay, I said that. I said that. Okay. So in this parenting thing, it's a stressful situation. It's stressful to, here I'm talking specifically to black people or oppressed people. People that have grown up in terrorizing environments. That is being black in America and some parts of Europe. That is being Palestinian. That is a lot of people around the world. But I'm specifically talking to oppressed people, and from my own personal perspective and wealth of knowledge and wisdom, black people in America. I'll say outside of America, because my family is Caribbean, from South America and Guyana, and I see these same tactics used there. Anyway, if you came from an oppressed group, control was a way to maintain safety for you by your parents. Oppressed group, immigrant group, right? If we take it all the way back to the days before enslaved people in America were free, or around the time even, a parent's ability to manage their child's behavior was literally the difference between life and death. You didn't have the freedom to be as a child because your parents faced the unpredictability, the instability, the abuse, all of the things from the circumstances within which they were, right? So when you came along, the depths of the love that your parents had for you required them to control your behavior, to control your mouth, to control your appearance in order to make sure that you lived, to make sure that you were safe. And while that is still very much a reality for many, 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 many people across the world, it's not. It doesn't have to lead us in the way that it has led us. When we talk about breaking generational curses, control is one of those things that we have to let go of. What are you controlling, right? So yes, it's for raising a black male in the United States, there's certain messages and lessons that they just have to get, that you just have to drill into them. Like, you cannot, in these situations, you have to overthink more than your peers, because it could turn out very differently for you. You have to be mindful of how people around you are perceiving you, and the shit is fucked up. It's sad. It's destructive. We can see the evidence of how destructive this is on so many levels. But what are you controlling and why? So yes, parents being strict, parents being firm, parents having boundaries, giving you beatings when you don't do. It makes sense, because that beating that they gave you is not as bad as the death that the other man was going to give you if they found you. Shit. Control. But like always, it's like playing telephone. Right? From generation to generation, we kept maintaining these very strict boundaries and very strict levels of control over our children, but we didn't tell the whole story. Or the story got fucked up as it went down the line between the telephones. Right? So now we're just holding on to the cultural ideal of control, the cultural ideal of being strict, of authoritarian parenting, where what I say goes and I don't really give a fuck what you have to say, right? But we are not in the times of immediately post-slavery. We are not in the same times that we were before, right? Your immigrant parents may have been that way when they came here with you, or shortly after you were born, when they first got here, because it was unknown. But now that you have the experience and you have the wealth of your original culture mixed with what you've brought in from your new culture, you don't have to have the same parenting tactics that your parents did, because you are not living in the same times, under the same circumstances, or within the same context. So it's important as parents to recognize why you're controlling and what you're controlling. I'm controlling how my teenage daughter leaves the house because I know that if she goes out there with these booty shorts that she's super comfortable with, there's some grown-ass man out there that's not looking at her like she's a 13-year-old child. And I'm going to explain this to her, and she's not going to be able to leave the house with those shorts. But what I damn sure am not going to do is shame her for wearing them same shorts in the house where she's supposed to feel comfortable. What are you controlling and why? What are you controlling and why? Yes, safety is important, but what is safety nowadays? Where should your child be vigilant? And where is the space where your child can just relax? If they're constantly being bombarded by bullshit outside of the home, and they have to change who they are and change how they present themselves and code switch and clothes switch and all of this and all of that in order to be safe outside the home, are you providing a space inside the home for them to feel safe, stable, secure? Or are you making another control freak? No judgment. No judgment. I just need to wait. I need you to see it. I need to explain it so you can see it. You are limiting the realm of possibility mentally for your child by maintaining control in ways that you don't need to maintain control. You are limiting the possibilities for how life could unfold for you and how God can bless you because you want to maintain control over something that your puny human mind can't even comprehend the vastness of. That's not your human, that's God's human. That's not your child. Yes, you bore him. Yes, it's your responsibility. Yes, blah, blah, blah. But that's supposed to be a free person that God created. Can you tell I grew up in a controlling home environment? Sis is passionate. Okay. So money, the types of relationships that we attract or accept into our lives, how we deal with our children, how we deal with our coworkers, how we deal with our friends, our partners, how we grocery shop. Small things, large things, insignificant things, very significant things. If you're a person that has OCD and you need to shower in a certain way, you have your routines, you have your patterns of the way things need to set up. Okay. Be controlling in that aspect. But be open when it comes to your relationships with other people. Be open when it comes to the experiences that are there for you, right? And I'm saying all of these things and it sounds easy to just say it, right? Because it's easy to say. But it does not negate the work that I know is required for you to get to that place. Right? You have to do work. You have to pay attention to yourself. I saw Keir Gaines posted a video earlier today about people are talking about self-awareness and how we need to have self-awareness, but nobody is talking about how do you gain self-awareness. I do. But he makes a very good point. There's a lot of internet psychologists and gurus out there saying this is what you need to do, and it's 2 sentences or 1 sentence or a fragment of a sentence, and then it's like, okay, now go with that. But I've been talking about introspection since I've been doing this work. That's one of the things that I go back to the most when I talk to my clients. It's a chapter in the Pathways to Healing workbook and guide to grief and transformation. Available free for download. I'm going to link some shit in the bio so that you guys can check out the other offerings that I have besides just talking shit on YouTube. But introspection is this idea of paying attention to yourself, slowing down enough in your decision making, in your movement in the world, to reflect, even if you can't think before you act, after you've acted, and maybe you don't feel 100% positive about a situation or a circumstance or an outcome or your behavior. Give yourself the time to reflect, to think about what it is that I did. What is it that I don't like? Why don't I like it? Why would I have done that? What could have possibly happened that could have triggered that reaction out of me? And what is it that I want to do differently in the future? Introspection. Why? Keep asking yourself why, so you can get a better understanding of what the fuck's going on with you. But you have to move slow enough in order to pay attention to and care enough about how your actions affect other people in order for you to kind of get to that space. So that's one of the ways that we surrender. How do we surrender control? How do we surrender control? Slow down. I just want to get to know you. Don't turn around, because that's irrelevant and probably inappropriate. But can you tell I think in song? I think in song. So slow down. Practice this idea of introspection that I talked about. And again, you can read more about that in the workbook. There's a whole chapter explaining, providing activities. And the workbook has an introspection activity for every single section that's in it, because it's important. Increasing your self-awareness is probably one of the best things that you can do for your personal growth and transformation. Just for your life, your relationships, everything, really. So how do I surrender control? This is where spirituality and psychology meet. You gotta build your faith. You gotta build or develop your faith. Your belief in something unseen or unknown. I'm not talking about anybody's religion. I'm not talking about going to church, unless that's what you want to do. What I'm talking about is the idea of faith. Faith in or belief in something that has not yet happened or that you can't quite see. And what is absolutely necessary for us to move through these evolutionary times where everything that's happening is something that we haven't necessarily seen before, except for the manipulations of the market and capitalism. Like, that's a fucking broken record. But outside of that, we are in an evolutionary space. We are in a time where we won't be familiar with what's going on. So we have to be open. To release control means to be open. To hold on to control negates the idea of openness. They can't exist. Faith and fear cannot exist in the same space. This is something that I say to my clients all the time. Probably every single one of them has heard me say it. But faith and fear cannot exist in the same space. So if you are trying to release control, thus you are trying to build, or you are building your faith. I use that word try. I recognize it. I'm human. If you are releasing control, if you are part of your personal growth journey is to let go, you have to build your faith. And in order to build your faith, you have to release fear. Fear is the primary response of your ego when shit is not right. Fear. So that working on that ego, dismantling fucking vibranium walls and mountains and shits that your ego has built over time is your task. And the first step, in my belief, for building this is building faith. If you can believe that things are going to be good, even though they do not appear that they're going to be good, then you can let go of the control of how to make them good and just allow the universe to bring the goodness to you. Next, how do I surrender? How do I release control? When you feel that cognitive dissonance arise, when you feel that discomfort from what your vision is and what your reality is, you must question it. Do not just accept it for what it is, for what you know it to be, because it's based on some old outdated shit, right? You got to question it. You got to be like, what is the outcome that I'm avoiding here? What is it that I'm afraid of? What is the worst case scenario? And if the worst case scenario did happen, then what? Chances are you'll realize that it's not a fatal thing. Part of being a control freak is having a fatalistic mindset. A fatalistic mindset says that the worst is going to fucking happen and I need to be prepared for the worst. But if we understand the universal law of attraction, we recognize that when we expect the worst, we continue to get the worst. So then it feeds or perpetuates or self-fulfills the prophecy that we need to be prepared for the worst. But if we believe, even if the worst shit has ever happened to us, if we can switch to the belief or the faith that there is something better out there, and those are the thoughts that we're having, and those are the things that we're putting out into the metaphysical, whatever you want to call it, for us to then receive. So we got to release this fatalistic mentality. Okay, so the worst has happened. You still here, you still survive. So like, what now? What now? We can keep going. It's okay. And you'll find that the more and more you question the dissonance, the more and more you can poke holes in its story. You can poke holes in its evidence. You can disprove your own theories and create ones that are more aligned with a life of thriving and not an egoic life of survival. Start with some small things. So let your children pick out their own clothes to go to church on Sunday, to go to school, to go wherever you guys are going this weekend. Just let your kids wear what they want to wear. Let someone else choose what's for dinner. Let your coworker do their job. Mamas. Let somebody else clean the dishes or the kitchen or the bathroom in whatever way they want to clean it. Why it got to be your way? Why it got to be your way? Is the intended outcome not to get the bathroom clean? Yes, there are sanitary ways to do things. Teach them. Allow them the freedom to do it their way. Girlfriends, boyfriends. Talking mainly to women, but this is for everybody. Maintain that relationship with that person that challenges you. Foster a relationship with someone who challenges you. Strike up a conversation with that person that you disagree with. Be open. The next time somebody says, do you want to go here? And it's a place that you've never been before, say yes. Say yes. Say yes. Say yes. Maintaining control does not allow you to receive help. Maintaining control does not allow you to collaborate. Maintaining control does not allow you to be open. And all of these things are necessary for us to evolve and even live and thrive as human beings. We must be interdependent on other people. We must work well with others. We must socialize with other people. We must accept help. We can't do it all by ourselves. We're not equipped in some ways. And in the ways that we are, yes, thrive, do it. But in the ways that you are challenged or in the ways that frustrate you, ask for help. Ask for help. You can do it. Be late. Instead of rushing. What if you prioritized your well-being and took your time and went slowly and showed up 3 minutes late? It didn't start anyway. 15, 30 minutes late. Or maybe you didn't show up at all. Ooh. Because who gives a fuck what them people think? Or how about be on time? Ooh. Instead of taking the extra 30 minutes to curl your hair, slap that thing in a ponytail, and be on time. Because who gives a fuck what them people think? A lot of our need for control is our need to control how other people see us. Fuck them people. You're going to hear me say that a lot. fuck imaginary people. Fuck them real people too. Because they fake anyway. Ooh. Did I say everything that I needed to say? Because I'm going to get myself in trouble. Believe in yourself. Believe in the divine. Believe in yourself and believe in the divine. And those two things combined will lead you to a place where you can surrender control over the shit that you don't have control over anyway. I love you with all my heart. And I just read myself to filth in many, many ways. And I'm going to go cry about it. I'm not. But I had to share because it keep coming up. Like, subscribe, comment, cuss me out, disagree, agree, share with people. Subscribe, I said that maybe to the thing. There's going to be a thing that comes up at the end. It might be janky. I need y'all's feedback because I ain't no expert. I know people. I know psychology. I know my spirit. I know education. I know those things, but the rest of this shit, I'm just kind of winging it so I can share with you what God told me to serve you with. But